You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
Somebody stole our speakers.
Well, no, the speakers that we had just stopped working one day.
Yeah.
But then nobody did anything about it.
Yep.
That was in the other room, was it not? Because it was sitting on the tower. Everything. Yeah, they don't work right now.
You know what? I will order us new speakers right now because I feel like that.
You know what, Tyler? Approved.
I'd say probably 7 weeks.
You know, actually,
easily 7 weeks.
I did something pretty crazy yesterday. So, as you guys know, I purchased a home.
Braggart.
Congrats.
And yeah, that's it.
That's
so I have this garage door opener that I just not programmed.
Car hold.
Huh?
Car hold.
Yeah. Car hold. Garage car hold opener.
Garage.
That I just haven't programmed. Like I don't know. It's just something I never got around to.
So like you're talking like the remote to make the door open and close?
My girlfriend had one and she presses it. But when I go out, I get out, walk inside my house again, close the garage, come back out to my car, and off I go. It's a bit of a routine. I just make my coffee in that little thing as I go out and come back in. It's ready to go.
That's insane.
Yesterday, I programmed it.
What kind of work do you got to do to program this thing?
You have to stand on a chair in your garage to the big thing that
yeah, we call it the base, I guess.
The unit, bingo. So I have a contraption. It's called a Chamberlain clicker. You just press program. The light comes up, and you press the program on your thing, and you just keep clicking it until either the light comes on. You hear like a little click. And all of a sudden, the program is working.
We're talking like 10, 15, 20 seconds?
Rick, please. 45.
45.
Wow.
So now we can understand where the procrastination was coming from.
So your story took longer than the programming of the remote.
Yeah, and it worked like a charm. So today it was actually kind of crazy. I just pulled out my car holder and just
hit the button, the door closed automatically, and you kept driving?
I felt kind of useless.
You like the manually bringing the...
the routine.
But you're just going inside to press a button. You're just pressing inside your car. It's not like you're going inside and like yanking on the chain to bring the door down.
That's what I like to see you do. Like my dad built a shop for himself where he keeps like his camper and shit. You got to get out and pull the chain.
Yeah.
The old fashioned way.
Yep. So you got to use those muscles, Liam. I'm worried about your muscle depletion as you age.
It's definitely
a problem. Bone density. We're all thinking about it.
Little muscle on me.
It's a worry when you get to my age.
Although my legs are very muscular. Strong legs.
It's a lot of biking you're doing.
I do bike a lot. I run a lot. Quite athletic, actually.
You are a picture of health. Anyway.
Our body.
Now you know what Liam's up to, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, I usually do, but good to get an update.
You seem busy.
Me?
That's why I just told the story.
I was hoping that you were now up to date because I felt like you were not.
Liam and I saw a coyote today.
Was it actually a coyote, or was it like when Waz thought it was a coyote, or was it actually a fox?
No, it was for sure a coyote. It was right there.
Yeah, no, it's pretty hard to mistake a coyote for anything else.
So was it a coyote? It was a coyote. Sorry, show me the video.
Yeah, but he thought it was a fox.
And he said it was pregnant.
Has he ever seen a fox?
I don't think so.
They are much smaller than a coyote.
And red.
And red. And also, do we even really have foxes around here?
Yeah. I saw one barreling down my street like 6 weeks ago.
Like a bushy tail.
Yeah. In England, foxes are the coyotes. We don't have coyotes. We have foxes.
Really?
Yeah. We're not,
they get in the hen houses, I heard over there.
Yeah, they're actually a right pain in the ass.
Well, if we ever have one, we know who to handle.
Yeah.
Who'll handle it.
Yeah, the coyote was crazy.
Tyler, do you want to talk about the Oilers or more Fox talk?
No, I'm into...
Hold on. Were the speakers purchased?
Or
did we distract them?
$89.99. They'll be here tomorrow.
Approved. All right. Delicious debate for our friends at Odd Company. Proud providers and makers of Nation Beer Everyday Lager. Perfect for the next big game or your go-to lager. Like tonight. Get a, what is it, 6:30? 6 o'clock start? Perfect. You get home, you start cooking up some dinner, a couple of Nation beers, game's on right there. Perfect. Find out Odd Company at either of their Edmonton locations. Tyler tells me one of them has excellent pizza.
Yeah. It's right on that Happy Beer Street. It's an awesome little neighborhood. You can have a great night out. Like Edmonton we love our friends at Odd Company. Edmonton has a lot of great breweries. But starting at that Odd Company one, getting a pizza, a couple Nation beers, that is a good way to kickstart a good night.
Find out either Odd Company location or go to liquorconnect.com. It's like a search engine for your beers. Ask for it at a liquor store near you. Tyler, your delicious debate options. 1, you can talk about hockey. You can talk about Liam's house. Which are you choosing?
Any other questions? I also
MLB
fixed my
umpiring?
closet's door again.
Hey, that's the GOAT they fired
Yeah,
Who did fire?
perfect. A
Angel
perfect
Fernandez?
umpired game in the World
in the World
Series.
Series. Yeah. Pat
Quinn.
Hoberg.
Yep.
Yeah. They fired him because allegedly he might have gambled on the games.
Wow. If he's that good,
He was sharing his trading or his account with his buddy. Kind of like he was pulling a Shohei Ohtani, if you will.
Well, I get it. I mean,
And
we
then-
often share our betting accounts.
And then when the NBA said we'd like to investigate your phone, he deleted a bunch of emails and text messages.
Definitely the MLB, not the NBA.
Sorry, MLB.
Course
But that's
that was
That's just he's clearing clutter.
yeah.
You know,
didn't have
who's-
enough space.
I hate a busy inbox.
Yep. No, your delicious debate is this because it's the talk of everybody right now. Again, I do think this is a little bit of one of those like we are bored, so it's a topic thing. Do the Oilers have a goaltending problem? Do you think the Edmonton Oilers need to go get a goalie ahead of the deadline to pair with Stuart Skinner? That's your debate.
Define problem.
Is the Oilers goaltending good enough for them to win a Stanley Cup?
Okay.
Should the Oilers be confident in their goaltending going into the Stanley Cup playoffs? These are the questions I have to fuel our delicious debate.
Who's starting?
I have both yeses there. I'm confident in the goaltending. I do believe the goaltending can win you a Stanley Cup. If goaltending is the exact tandem was 1 goal away less than a year ago from winning the Stanley Cup. That last game, everybody wants to put it on Stu. Well, to me, Stu looked about as equal to anybody else on the team in that first period. Nobody had a good period. The penalty kill was 0 for 2, I believe it was.
Yep.
We let in 3 goals. The guys right around the crease are scoring the goals. So that means the defensemen aren't clearing them out. The forwards aren't coming down. Yeah, Stu definitely would like to have a couple of those back. They were bad rebounds. They weren't pucks that got by him directly. But to me, the whole team played pretty much the same way in that first period. And then outside of it, you saw a different version, which they can do 60 minutes at a time if and when they choose to.
I think I would agree with you for the most part in there, but those 2 rebounds were terrible. And like, I understand that. And thank you for letting me use the word terrible this time. Rick, I will say.
Well, hey, there's that thread on Twitter about the Edmonton media here. So
There's a thread.
There's a thread.
oh, there's a
We're
whole
in it?
thread. No.
damn
But
it.
technically, this would be
One
part
day.
of the media. This would be part of the media.
People would strongly disagree.
One
with
day.
you, but
Well,
either way,
somebody in
I'll
this
say-
room has received media passes to NHL games. Therefore,
2
you
of
are
us.
now part of. Well, I think.
I mean,
that
I
guy's
technically
too,
have
right?
to.
2 of us. 4 of
NHL
us.
events, not Oilers events.
That's
Fair, but that's
Difference.
different. Yeah, there's
Well,
reasons.
What
for
I'll
that.
say is, while the penalty kill was 0-2, I actually will put both those goals on Skinner, although they could have been cleared for sure. And you do want to see maybe more of a battle on that. Like, you can't have 2 rebounds go right off your chest. 1 is like kind of forgivable, I suppose, if you're able to bounce back from it. But for 2 in like very quick concession to score similar goals, I put that one more on the goaltending. I think the first one that they scored, Nylander, a really nice goal from him, to be honest. And then the 4th one, you need a big stop from Stu there, but also part of that.
How did he
I
walk
was
through
gonna say,
everybody and have that opportunity? Yes,
also
he's a
walked
pretty good
through-
player, but he walked through 4 guys.
I agree, and that's what I was going to say. Is like he got too far too easily.
Yes.
Is the part of it. So the first period was bad. The other
By everybody.
yes, but the goaltending didn't help.
But the forwards didn't help and the defense didn't help. It
I
was
guess the
equally as
counter-
bad. Everybody was bad. Nobody played up to their full ability in that first
If I'm
period.
playing devil's advocate, though, the counter would be the Oilers absolutely shelled the Leafs for 40 minutes, and Justin Wall,
Joseph.
They couldn't
So
score.
Exactly. That's how good
Joseph
he is.
Wall.
We don't even know his name.
Joseph Wall
Doesn't
was
matter.
rock solid.
So I looked up some numbers.
But then your forwards aren't scoring. So if you're going to blame your goaltender for not making saves, you got to blame your forwards for not making goals.
I do think that has become a layer of the Oilers that people aren't pushing as well. Is that sometimes the Oilers go into these big games and their forwards, this team is built on offense and their offense isn't scoring goals when they really need it. I went back and looked through Stuart Skinner against top 10 teams in the NHL compared to the other top 10 teams in the NHL and their goalies. And Skinner was last in save percentage, goals saved above expected, which I don't love that stat, but it gives a good.
Where was he in wins?
Okay, that's fine. You can say about wins. Actually, not that good. I think they were like 6-4 or something like that. Either way. But if you look at a lot of the games, you get blown out 6-0 by Winnipeg. Yep, your goaltender didn't help, but you also didn't score a goal. You lose
And
one.
they were awful. I
and
had
they
to
were
sit in
terrible.
that fucking barn for that game.
I just think there's a larger picture to it. Has Skinner helped them in some games? Yes. Has he been a negative in some of them? Yeah. I think he's good enough to help you get there because when he gets hot, he gets steaming hot. The problem is you need him to get hot at the right time. And if he doesn't get hot at the right time, you might be in a bit of trouble. But the other part of it too is who's available? Who you going getting? That's the biggest argument I have against anything in this.
I heard a good idea today.
Let me guess.
The Oilers trade bit pieces for UC Saros.
Damn. Is he available? I didn't even see him on any trade.
Good idea.
Why not? Why not? My
that was from
thing,
Tyler Show, by the way. Not my
could
idea.
the Oilers use an upgrade on Calvin Pickard, or would that be a nice to have thing? Yeah, it would be. But like you said, Liam, I'm not sure who that guy is. And I'm, again, like, I don't think Karel Vejmelka is the guy.
And on Vejmelka as well. Connor Ingram missed a lot of time for like personal reasons this year. Like, I don't think they then want to throw Connor Ingram in the deep end and be like, you're on your own now kind of thing, you know? Like, they probably want to support Vejmelka just in case he isn't able to continue to play for whatever reason it may be. Like, it doesn't seem like a good fit. If the others want to go out and get a goalie, unfortunately for the people who want this so bad, then you're going to be very disappointed. They might address it in the offseason.
They're not even looking at it properly. If you think like, what has Pickard done badly this year in terms of like he's been a very, very strong backup goaltender? No,
my thought on the goaltending, I guess, is like I think of it like Stan Bowman has no ties to either of these guys.
Yeah.
So I think that nothing's happening this year, no matter what. But if they falter down the stretch or in the playoffs and goaltending is part of the problem, I could absolutely see him making a move in the summer. He has no ties to either of these guys. He has no ties to most of the team.
Yeah. And I think that's a fair assessment for Bowman to have on this approach. Like, okay, right now we have this tandem who did well in the playoffs last year. Pickett did well when you called his name. He was there for you in those games. So. If they do not do well this postseason, then yeah, of course, it becomes a larger conversation. But right now, like, I don't think it's harming you that much. I think the best approach is to address in front of it. Find another scoring winger and get a defense. I think it's the easiest way to do it because those players are actually available.
This team, the way it's built right now, is good enough to win the Stanley Cup. I'm not saying don't add to it. I'm just saying right now, when they play their best, when they all play the way they're supposed to, this team is almost unbeatable. They did not play like that in the first period. You can sit there and blame it on Stu, and nobody in this room is doing that, but it is being done. But first of all, he didn't take the penalties that made the power plays.
No.
Right? I know this is going to sound really dumb, but the goalie makes the first save. It's up to the defense after that to get the puck out.
Those rebounds can't happen. Those hit him square in the chest. You've
played hockey. Is that not something you've heard of? Like the goalie makes the first save and it's up to the defenseman to get the puck out after that?
Yeah, when it's
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, yes, you definitely want them, but you don't want to let those out. But once you do, part of that has to be on defenseman getting the puck out of there. It's a tandem situation now. And it didn't end up in the net. So that's on everybody. So again, no one in this room is really doing this. But the fact that we're just pinpointing this and putting on Stu, I think is just, it's wrong. It's narrow. It's just wrong.
Dan?
Yeah, I've just been kind of listening to you guys, but I mean, for me, it's silly that we're having this conversation. And I know that Tyler, you're looking for conversation within the fan base and have found it here. But it's weird how we didn't hear this for two months of time after the start of the season. There was a lot of clamoring for replace the goalie, find some help for Skinner, replacing Skinner, not Pickard. And now he has a couple of bad games and we're like, let's get rid of him again. It's weird to me for our fan base to have gone through what we've gone through, know what we have, and still be like, we got to get rid of that guy when again, you guys keep pointing it out, there's no actual answer to say the goalie that's going to come in to replace them.
The wild thing too about goaltending is no matter who it is or any market, it's a very much what have you done for me lately position where, 2 months, like Dan said, will go by where Skinner is rock solid between the pipes above 920. He had a run of like 6 or 8 starts above 920 and then just a couple of bad games ago.
But it's not even that. I had a bad period.
We're in a conversation for the division right now. Like with Stuart Skinner as our starting goaltender.
Yeah, I think the other part too, and we were talking about this on the live show, there's not like When was the last time a goalie was acquired at the deadline and it truly
Rollison.
worked? That's what Jay said. Like, and maybe we're missing some, and I can't think of many.
And that took a while to get going.
Yeah,
Jonas
he
Col-
stunk his first month here.
Well, Corpusalo was a recent one the Kings acquired, and
Yep.
he was
that would
good
go
for
for
them,
them.
but they got eliminated in the first round. They got Gavrikov in
Up
the deal
over his
too, so
shoulders,
it's a bit different. Yeah, and it's just like
Didn't the Avalanche pick up their goalie before their cup run?
Kemper. No, he was acquired at the start of the season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So like, this was strictly like just
Yep.
an image on the deadline. Like,
Yep.
I don't recall many, and maybe I'm wrong, but
And also there's the other angle too, like- If you have a good goalie, teams generally don't want to trade their good goalie.
yeah, like typically it's a tough position to find.
There's 64 of them in the NHL.
Yeah.
Not that many jobs, really. You know?
And it really comes down to, like, we talked about this a while ago. How many number one defensemen are there in the league? Now, no one ever, you should not say 32.
10 probably.
You know, 10, 12, 13, somewhere in there. That's probably the same thing when it comes to number one goaltenders who can, you know, carry the bag, 55, 65 games on their own. And you expect a certain level out of them the whole time.
It's like the Blackhawks one with Antti Niemi as their goalie. He wasn't great.
Yeah. Corey
How-
Crawford for all those years was good, but like he's not a Hall of Famer.
Chris Osgood.
He's probably the poster boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that.
I think the bigger, like going back to the original delicious debate, though, I think my bigger problem is that now the Oilers have had a run of 3 or 4 games in a row where the first period is garbage.
Yeah.
That's my bigger problem.
But are you viewing the first periods different if you're getting a few big stops? And Stu has made some big stops in there. Like, again, I thought it was funny. People were all over him for that first goal, but he stopped a Nylander breakaway and stopped the Nylander kind of half breakaway on his backhand too. And it's like he made those 2 big saves and he gave up the goal through traffic. Everyone's crucifying him for the shot through traffic. And it's like, well, what about the breakaway? We're giving him credit for stopping William Nylander, one of the best goal scorers in the league on a breakaway. Like,
Other
The
angles-
thing is, he got like a Jameis Winston thing going on here. We need to get them fixed up in the summer or what?
for Stu?
Look into this. We got to get him to
Some
in front of
contact?
in front of an eye doctor. Look, when it comes to a goaltender like that, you have to like stand straight up to see over top of guys, right? When you stand straight up, you become a lot skinnier. You're not exactly in your ready position anymore. You stand up like that, and if you see a goalie stand up, like fire at him.
Yeah.
He's not in position.
Also, other angle for our friends at Bet365. If you did not bet on an anytime goal for William Nylander against the Oilers, that is your own fault.
Yeah, silly.
The guy just keeps scoring against us. So am I going to make money on it? Yeah, I am.
So I did some digging
In
on the
backyard.
goalies that have been traded close to the deadline over the last 10 years. Outside of the couple that we mentioned already of guys like
Corpusalo.
Corpusalo and Jake Allen was traded last year, and Talbot, of course, to the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't remember them winning the Stanley Cup. I don't remember them doing well in the playoffs.
I don't think
that
they
year.
made the playoffs that
I
year.
don't think they did make the playoffs.
I definitely didn't win the cup.
They certainly did not. Another one was Ben Bishop was kind of the next notable one.
He big.
He's a big boy. He
He had
went.
a good run with Dallas.
Yeah, this is probably the last one that was successful.
Yeah.
And he was a great goalie.
Who else you got on there?
No one.
Hmm.
That's kind of it. Like the rest of them are all like outside, like Peter Budaj was one of them. And I think LA Kings were like desperate for a goalie that year, if I remember.
They usually are.
Yeah.
They do turn over their goalies quite a lot in LA, don't they?
Yeah. Traded from the, Ben Bishop was in the Peter Budaj trade. That was what it was.
Also,
He was
I'd like to point out the fact that last year Ottinger had not good numbers and was able to pull it back in where he is. Like goaltenders go up and down all the time. The fact that we want to get rid of a goaltender who took us to game 7 less than a calendar year ago, who's still been has decent numbers this year at very worst,
above average.
and
I'm
we
guilty
want
of it too.
to move on from somebody like that that's silly.
I think a part of it is, and I'm guilty of it too, is like not watching enough games. Like if you see Igor Shesterkin a shitty game, they happen, but you automatically don't think he's a horrible goalie.
He's
So,
4.5 times costs 4.5 times more than our goalie.
Yeah. Mackenzie Blackwood has back-to-back shutouts. But in the 5 games before that, he was below 900 in every single one of them.
And who are those shutouts against again? Remind us.
Philly and St. Louis, 2 teams that don't score all that much.
Shocker.
And he's got 2 last names.
Like goalies are like fickle by nature, you know?
Goalies are different than what they used to be 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about it. I can't trust a man with two last names as his
Black
names.
and Wood.
Oh yeah, I guess you don't think about two last names in your name. It's two first names.
Mackenzie and Blackwood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you were saying
I
Black
know you did.
and Wood are two last. He has a bunch.
No, Mackenzie
I guess
is a
kinda
last
you
name.
could.
I guess.
When I
I
hear
suppose if you split them up,
when I just hear someone say Mackenzie, I think a first name before I think of
Bob.
a last name.
I think of Bob McKenzie.
I think of Big Brother.
He was hot.
Shout out to my dogs at the crib.
Put him a dollar to the crew.
Want to get into the news? We got some other stuff to cover outside of the goaltending. Hit us up on Radio Podcast. Let us know. Do the Oilers have a goaltending problem?
I'm sure this will be faced with rational answers and nobody.
As they always are. As they always are.
Well,
Our
the
listeners
nation doesn't
are
realize.
very, very rational folks. They are intelligent. They are smart and handsome. Got to tell you about the Nation Vacation in March/April. We are going to Vegas. This trip, Tyler, is starting to sell out. She moving. We've only got a handful of spaces left on this one. NationGear.ca, we've got 3 options for you. We got a flight package if you want to just jump with us on the plane. If you want to use your own points or you got your own way to Vegas, we've got a ticket package for you. We got the non-flight package as well. That's for if you just want to get down to Vegas. If you're already there, just also have a ticket package. Come join us at the Stella Artois Loft. All inclusive in there, boys. Food and drink. Beer and wine included.
I'm gonna have a beer
Just one.
or two.
Just one.
Wasn't it a couple of shows ago when he was trying to explain to us he only goes through 3 beers, or was sorry, 1 beer per period?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
At an all-inclusive?
Oh wow, I've never had a chance to be at an all-inclusive hockey game. Who knows how well
Yes,
pushed
yeah,
my
you've
limits.
gone to Vegas with us before, have you not?
Not on
Oh.
the flight deck.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I was there on the
Yeah,
flight
you'd have
deck.
been there.
Were you?
Yeah.
I remember
Sitting
tipping
on the
that guy
floor
20
watching
bucks.
the TV.
I remember tipping the bartender there like $20 or something, maybe even less. And every time I walked by them, beer. Do you need one? Not really. Beer. Done.
Someone who definitely did not need another beer. Get him another beer.
That's not me you're talking about. NationGear.ca. Join us. We got some new line combos, fellas. I want to discuss ahead of tonight's game against St. Louis. Top line, you got the big dogs together again. Draisaitl, McDavid, Perry. What thoughts on leaving old boy Perry up there?
He's contributing.
I mean, it's hard to
Like
argue
I
with the
said.
results, right? Like he scores when he's on the ice with McDavid and Draisaitl, so you can't ignore it.
Knoblauch did say that he can't play as many minutes as these guys, so it will not just be him.
He played just over 12 last game.
Perfect.
The Leaves and scored.
Yeah,
The
excellent.
only trio in the NHL, the only line in the NHL has 3 MVPs.
Something to think about.
Yep.
I guess I was going to say Rocket Richards, but Leon's hasn't won
I
one
don't
yet.
think Corey Perry. Oh, sorry, Rocket. I was thinking.
Did he win that year when he scored
He
50?
did. He scored. Yeah, I think basically that's why he won the Hart.
Hell yeah. Second line, fellas. Arvidsson, Nugent-Hopkins, Hyman. I don't want to bury him, but Victor Arvidsson is starting to annoy me.
Thought we were getting a bit of a better player here, being honest. I remember him being more effective when he was with the LA Kings.
Nashville before that.
Scored like 30 goals in 54 games one year.
I think he'll get traded.
I think there is a I would
This year, summer, next year, draft.
He's like 4.1, I think. And he's
4.1
like
and
4
50.
dead on for one more year. No trade
no
protection.
trade protection. Only him and Henrique are like the notable forwards of money that have that. I just think if the Oilers can find a little bit out of someone else, they'll just try and move on from him in that deal kind of thing and
Yeah.
make the money bit work easier.
And it is frustrating when we sit here and like we had Bruce Kurlock on Owen every day today, and he agreed with your take, Liam, of like add more scoring to this team. It's frustrating because like you sign guys like Arvidsson, Henrique, and Skinner, spend $10 million on those 3 guys combined because it's like we need more scoring, and now you're still out there looking for more scoring.
Well, isn't
And-
one guy kind of blocking the other guy from getting to that spot?
Well, that's Kris Knoblauch.
No, Arvidsson kind of in the way of Skinner.
But
Yeah,
neither,
he is because of Kris Knoblauch.
Sure,
I
I,
know,
guess
but
at,
like-
the end of the day, it comes down to coaching. Sure.
neither of them are good enough is the problem.
I think that you're actually getting good production out of Skinner and Henrique in comparison to what they are being asked to do.
And paid.
Yeah, sure, paid too. I guess that's fair. Arvidsson, it's like, man, like you are locked into a top 6 role.
He falls down on the ice a lot.
Falls down.
He is human Zamboni.
He shoots from everywhere, which is
I don't mind that
like,
part.
People, I cannot stand it. I think shooting from everywhere is good if you're actually putting on a good shot. If you're falling on your ass after you're trying to shoot a puck, I don't think that's a good thing. Like,
Troy Stetcher scored a goal right against his ass.
Oh my God. Okay, then I'll find 200 shots from there that don't go in, Rick.
And I'll find more that do.
Oh my, no, you will not.
Sure.
I just think going back to Arvidsson, like
Rasmus Anderson, a couple years in the playoffs.
unfortunately I was there. That was I watched it go in. It was not fun. Arvidsson only has 6 goals, and like you said, he's stapled in the top 6. We need more there. A lot of people talked about Jeff Skinner in and out of the lineup, 4th line minutes, blah blah blah. He still has 3 more goals than Arvidsson.
My question is, are we saving? Like I've said this before, this lineup is built for playoff hockey. Will he appear to be more effective in the playoffs?
Hey, maybe. And I'm willing to find out. But again, I just wouldn't. It's not really anything out there that suggests that Arvidsson would go. But like when you look at the contract situation for the Oilers and who's protected, the pieces they actually have, like he's someone that is still holds a bit of value.
Again, I go back to my point. I go back to my point too about even if it doesn't happen this year, Stan Bowman didn't sign that contract.
Nope. Yeah.
At the draft, I could absolutely see it.
I'd put him in a deal for Brad Marchand.
Where does that come from? Like, what is
I don't know, but do it right now.
I was there before. I was like, is this a real thing? Because I would love it.
Do it right now.
So, yeah, I would do that too. Low Tide wrote about it on The Athletic, and the gentleman from the Boston Bruins wrote about it. What's his name?
Fluto Shinzawa.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
What a name. He wrote about it, and then Low Tide kind of took it from there and made an Oilers spin on it. I just can't see that happening. I cannot see Sweeney being the guy that signed Lindholm to that deal, and then also the one that basically ended that era of Bruins hockey by trading Marchand while also being fired.
It would be insane.
Yeah.
But 6 weeks ago, if I would have said Mikko Rantanen's going to get traded, you would have been like, that's insane.
But Frank came on our show and said that there's a small possibility that could happen.
12 months ago, if someone would have said Steven Stamkos is not going to be a Bolt, you would have been like, you're crazy.
You come in UFA.
I think those are different situations.
He's becoming a UFA.
7 days ago, if you told me Luka Doncic was going to be a Laker.
That's so different.
Was Marchand not given the captaincy this year?
Last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah.
Bergeron was in there.
Bergeron. Yeah, that's when Bergeron did it, right?
Yeah, I would be very shocked if he leaves.
He's a UFA at the end of this?
Yep.
What's his contract?
6 something.
6 something? What does Chicago take another contract here for us?
6.1. He's got an 8-team no trade list.
An 8-team.
Yeah, but he'd come here.
Yeah, you'd come here.
Maybe
It's like
6.1.
It's like a sub 2% chance, but
that's
2% of the time. Listen,
dude, that's almost doable.
I would love it. He is the exact kind of annoying prick I would love to see on this team because he also backs it up.
He's also a great player.
Could you imagine him, Perry, and Leon on the same line?
They would just be the most annoying trio ever. Him and Corey Perry together, just standing, like the other team's already annoying.
Is that standing against the boards with the hand on the hip?
Like Perry's got that face like, what? Why are you mad at me? I don't know I don't know what you're mad about. Brad Marchand, he can't lick people anymore, so he's giving wedgies.
Oh.
Anyway, I was curious. Like Waz brought that up before we started recording. I was like, where did this even come from?
Yeah, Low Tide 6.1.
I would love it.
People were talking about, I don't know any. I was like, is this real life or is this just happening in our chat right now? It is real life, allegedly.
The chat is real life.
It feels that way. Actually, it's not. Some of the stuff that happens in there is bonkers.
Continuing on through the line combos, Skinner, Henry, Kapanen. That's your third line for tonight. Our boy Podkolzin getting bumped down to the 4th line.
Good call, unfortunately. He's not been as productive as he was.
Agreed.
And I think we're all big fans of him.
Yeah.
But at some point, and this is what we're kind of saying about Arvidsson, like you're playing those minutes, you need to score goals or do something.
Yep.
And I think he'll be really effective in that role. To be honest,
I think he would be really effective in a bottom 6 role. I think that he's got all kinds of tools to like be a checker, if that makes sense.
An offensive checker.
Offensive checker. Yep.
And I think he can bring a bit out of Janmark and Brown too. I think
Janmark flipped center.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Flip them.
They can be very like, what were they called from the Mighty Ducks?
Bash Brothers?
The Bash Brothers.
The Bash Triplets?
Bash Triplets. The Triumphant Triplets.
I don't think any of them really hit though.
Podkolzin hits for sure. I think they all are like aggressive.
Janmark will mix it up.
I don't say.
Does he hit? No, but he mixes it up.
Yeah, like they're in on it in the battle.
So which?
Like I'm not looking for them to No, maybe the back.
Not a lot of finish
You
on
give
our
them
fourth line.
You
puck
give all
goals in the
three.
Mark
You
Brown.
give all three of them a shot of espresso before the game. You let them start the game.
Yeah, just
Yeah, sure.
Get the puck deep, and then forecheck.
Or like in
create
that
the puck down there, and let's get the game going. We're playing more north and south.
from the Red Sox doc from 2004, where they're all taking shots of Jack before the game.
I love that.
I do too.
Do you know actually?
Loosens the boys up a little bit.
Have you guys seen that show on Prime called Game 7?
I didn't watch it, but I know what you're talking about.
No, anyone? Dan, Rick? You guys seen
No,
it?
I do know what you're talking
So the Oilers, the Oilers have won on there. It's Game 7, 87 against Philly.
Oh, I know that one.
They won. The Oilers won. Spoiler alert. And it was a really good one, actually. I never knew about the Steve Smith thing.
Ooh, what
Well,
do
he
you mean?
scored on himself in. I think that was a Game 7 against the Flames.
You didn't know
Didn't
that?
know that?
I don't know. I didn't recall.
one-
He's not from this country.
It was in the
Yeah.
first half of the second period. That team was good enough to come back and score and win that game.
Well,
that
they
was
made
not
it
on
seem
him.
Like it was like 2 minutes left in the game.
They always
I thought that
do.
was in overtime.
Absolutely
No, it
not.
wasn't overtime for sure.
Oh,
The Flames fans.
It's in like the
kept that
first
one
half of the
alive for a
second
while.
period.
Okay. And then Steve
Through the
Smith
90s.
obviously on the team the next year and won. It was actually a really great documentary. Just 1 hour long. The Red Sox and Yankees, there's one on there as well when
Sock.
what's the guy who went from the Red Sox to Yankees?
Johnny Damon.
Johnny Damon or
No.
David Ortiz.
No,
No, he never went there.
pitcher. Ty,
Roger
come on, I'm
Clemens.
looking at you.
Yeah, no.
Clemens.
Clemens. Yeah,
Clemens, there we
that
go.
guy. It was good. You guys should watch
Steve
it.
Sabathia never played for the Red Sox
I
either.
was just throwing it
My
out.
favorite is when Johnny Damon signed with the Yankees in this first trip back to Boston. They were all
Hold
throwing
on,
money
wait,
at him.
that's Johnny Damon who has like Jesus length hair and beard.
Yes.
And
Only
then
the Yankee though.
and then all of a sudden became
Clean shaven businessman.
Yeah.
I still don't get that rule. Like,
It was a
Hey,
Steinbrenner
look.
thing, I think. Wasn't it?
They also do not put names on their jerseys. They play for one name, the name on the front, the name over the heart. That's the name they play for. They don't have last names on their jerseys. That I can get behind.
The Yankees,
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it causes confusion.
especially when all the numbers are retired.
listen, I
Who's
could never tell the
confused?
difference.
Jackie Robinson Day,
Who's
all bets are
confused?
off.
Yeah, I can't watch.
They're
that,
all
man.
42s.
I could never tell the difference between A-Rod and Jeter.
We were all 42. What a line.
The other thing that I noticed from practice and the practice lines echoing back in, he missed Saturday against Toronto. Man, I missed him. As soon as I saw he was out, I bet the over
Smart.
and I hit it.
We should talk about this more.
What?
Betting the
Our
over?
betting, like in the group. You know?
Oh, in our group chat?
Because I just got absolutely demolished on Saturday.
All right,
And
well.
I feel like if you had thrown these ideas out there, I would have been like, you know what, I'm going to win a little bit tonight.
Well, then you lead the charge.
Okay, I'll set the tone tonight.
All right.
All we go.
Set the tone.
Holloway goal.
What do 2 games in so far? We talked about first impressions of John Klingberg after 1 game. How about 2?
Stay on the side.
There is good and there is bad.
The old hips don't stretch as much as we need them to.
No, if in the next 8 games we see the bad stuff go away and the good stuff continue, good. If not, go trade for a defenseman. And I think it's trending towards go trade for a defenseman.
I'm very
But
confident in this player.
you,
Of course you are.
Stunner, I'm stunned.
Why? You're blaming it on 2. You're going all negative after 2 games. I'm going positive. What's the
I
difference?
just said there's good and bad.
And then you just said at the end, how did you end your? It's leaning towards trading for another defenseman. Therefore, it's
I
leaning
am.
towards bad.
Because I want them to aim higher and get a better player.
See, and I don't think we know what the player is right now.
Agreed.
That's why we have 8 games.
Yeah,
And
test
you're
drive.
not going to know in 8 games either. You're not. You're going to have
15,
8.
you
You'll have
can trade
10,
Bouchard.
10 games into the whatever, but it's not going to tell you everything you need to know.
I think
You're going to be rolling dice a bit
I
either
think
way.
he could be a real good number 7 for us
See, and I think I like him.
as a second pair defenseman on a playoff run.
I'm okay with him there right now.
I'd like him if he was on the 3rd pairing.
I didn't get to
But
watch.
I put Emerson up one.
I didn't actually get to watch the second and the third, but from what I saw in the first, he looked very excitable. Like that. He looked like he
He's
was
got the
up
yip
for
a
that
little
game.
bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of it. Like he hasn't played in 14 months.
And that was back against Toronto too. So maybe that was there
And
too. But
I also think, like, we say he hasn't played in 14 months. I know he played 20 games for Toronto, but sounds like they might have been the 20 worst games of his career. If he
yeah,
had
people
to
in Toronto
end his
generally hate him.
season. Yeah, so really he hasn't played like a good game of hockey for like 2 seasons. So I think all in all, over the 2 games, better than expected. I think it's fair to say.
When I think of John, what
Skates
you
well.
can
Skates
see
very well.
And that was
and his passing, you
Scary.
can tell it's
Yeah,
there.
there.
his hands are there.
you don't lose that. The instincts, I guess you can say, right? It's like we're talking about Corey Perry playing first line tonight for the Oilers. He's 39 years old.
And
Spring
coming into the year,
Young,
people said, that his best were behind him and not to do anything and to move on from him. And he's surprising people. He was a little bit different.
No,
But
I said don't.
You were a
pay
little
him
bit.
that much.
You were a little bit different. Fair enough. But again, we got a guy that's making bare minimum right now.
who?
Klingberg.
Actually, he's
1.7.
paying 1.7. Unless something changes, he will then be making bare minimum.
Well, I thought he was.
No, he's currently
1.7.
making 1.7 on the cap. And he cost the Oilers a point the other day.
Oh boy! All we're gonna do
I
is
blame Matthew
all we're
King for
gonna
that
do
one.
here is focus on the bad for the guy.
Oh, I'm joking.
I know,
Rick.
but that's gonna happen. Like, where it's gonna be like it happens to Stu, it happened to Nurse, it happens to Bush. Gets it all the time. This is a player who, this is a city that likes to debate back and forth. Anyways, this is a player I think who a lot of people are going to focus on the negatives and they're going to miss the positives out of him.
I think there's more
Positive.
positives than negatives.
Toothless smile. Great.
Second
Ready for the
positive,
playoffs.
Go ahead.
He skates very well.
I think
he
he's
fits the mold of what the Oilers actually want.
He
And
does.
the puck well.
and he's been better than I thought he was going to be through 2 games. Like I've been relatively impressed with him. I just am skeptical that there's the right upside there, and I don't know if he can be your number 4 for a playoff run. And
And he's got to get comfortable playing with his apartment, playing with his partner as well.
Third upside, and I think this was somewhat noticeable last game. If someone goes down, he can step up and play reliable minutes and do a decent job.
they haven't eased him into it. They've been playing him heavy minutes. That's
He
impressive.
was really thrown into the deep end against Toronto. And I mean, like the fact they put him out in that situation that they did at the end of the game shows the trust they somewhat already have in him, I think. But you wrote about it, Ty. What did you see in the video? I guess that was like a negative.
He struggled a little bit off the rush. Like as much as I think his straight line skating is fine, I think he struggles with his gaps a little bit. His decision making in the ozone wasn't great, but I kind of said I didn't want to rip him too hard for that because that's about getting feel back. Like I kept a tally when I went through the first period when you sent me all his film, and I just did a check every time he had the puck or made a play if it was positive, neutral, or negative. Like neutral being like anyone can make that decision. It's like a standard play. Positive being like, whoa, I like that. Negative being like you cost the team something by doing that. And I had it at 4-3-4. So like basically he was a dead neutral player to me in that first period. There was a moment where McDavid got frustrated with him, which I thought was funny.
What did he do?
So McDavid was he was on the right side. They were set up in the O zone. And basically these were a couple of his negative plays. He throws the puck away into traffic. And it's like plays that don't really have much of a hope of doing anything. So there's play. McDavid's open on the top of the right-hand part of the zone. And Klingberg kind of like peeks and then looks and throws like a back foot wrister that just goes right into Joseph Woll and gets swallowed up. And McDavid, the camera catches a glimpse of it. He like taps his stick on the ice and like is looking at Klingberg. And it was like, yeah, you give that puck to Connor when he's in that spot. Like he'll learn. But
Never played with a Connor before. I like that.
Yeah, I'll learn.
Not a Connor.
What were you going to say?
nothing, just that. I'm good. I've said my piece about Klingberg.
How did you find that? How did you find the video of just his ice time? Or did you go out and make it yourself?
This little guy, this little contraption I've got going on here,
Yeah.
I just pay a heavy yearly fee.
What's your heavy yearly fee?
I can't tell you. Undisclosed. I don't pay for it.
It's sizable.
Yeah.
Really?
But it's awesome. I actually pulled up Victor Arvidsson's last 10 games and the shots on goal that he said.
So they show you actual video?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
You know, it's saying some stuff.
What do you think? What do you think? We're just guessing when we do these shows?
Kind of.
Yes.
I actually do a lot
mean, no.
of research.
Your process sounded similar to David Staples' game score
Oh, no.
process, though.
That's
So
the meanest thing you've ever said to me. I've
Oh,
never been
no.
more disrespected
Wow.
as a coworker.
That is.
Oh, man.
you said you were doing the ticks
HR.
on either side.
Oh, boy,
That's all
yeah.
I could think.
Let's
HR.
go to HR.
HR.
It's a violation.
I also have a take on traffic circles and bike lanes now that I think about it.
And I want to hear your opinion because I heard how you great played.
I would like to talk about urinals at Commonwealth Stadium.
So I drove around the city, and every time a bike lane annoyed me, I text.
Hey, Mark. Meryl Streep
Any
gift.
stint could be a urinal if you're committed enough.
Yes.
I remember the first time I went to
One foot
Commonwealth
on the thing. It keeps
when I moved
Be
to
right in there.
Canada, and the Eskimos at the time were playing the Hamilton Tiger Cats,
Mhm.
who sucked so bad. It was my first ever football game. And I went into the bathroom, and I kid you not, and I'm sure we've all been in a situation, just stood there, and I was like, Is this how they do it here?
But there's the key. But
just looking at each other.
I understand. I understand it because the sink in the middle,
And they're the back.
it's questionable. But you see the urinals out there too.
Right.
You're like, once the urinals are full, it's just everyone in the middle.
1997
buffet?
Grey Cup party in your parka. We were pissing in those sinks. That's why David Staples believes it.
Oh, it's definitely been done.
It's when the stadium is packed for a Grey Cup. It's any port in a storm.
Listen,
Think they were using it last year?
ABP always be pissing.
Commonwealth can hold
They
60,000
cannot
people.
accommodate it.
Doesn't mean it should.
Oh, dude, it holds like 70 something at its best.
Doesn't mean it should.
No.
People
they
were a
will,
lot
right?
smaller back then.
Yep, we
Yeah,
were
but their
small.
bladders were 3 times the size. I don't
Yep.
understand.
We all wore
And they,
diapers.
and they brought their own food because you can't get anywhere.
No,
Like that outdoor game was
It's hell.
I
terrible.
always bring a bag of spaghetti with me when I roll in there.
As you should.
Just ripping through a couple of things here quickly before we get to the betting segment. Shout out to Matt Savoy, fastest skater at the AHL Skills Comp.
And Man Alive.
Fastest man alive. No, that's Matthias Janmark. We know this. Come on. Cody Ceci, our boy, shipped off to Dallas. Couldn't love this more for Dallas.
Yeah, my favorite part about this for Dallas is just adding to that strong right side of Matt Dumba and Ilya Labushkin.
Yep.
I, for one, am terrified.
I
And
love it.
hope
For
we
them.
never play them in the playoffs. That's for sure.
Cody Ceci is currently their best right shot defenseman.
Yeah.
That is not a compliment to Cody Ceci.
No, it certainly is not. Matt Dumba was traded for what, a 7th round pick last year?
Yep.
I think it's great.
Deadline?
Couldn't happen to a
fan.
better team or franchise.
Yeah, I'm excited. for
Also,
them.
I don't think Michael Granlund's like, this is going to sound weird. I don't think he's a good bottom 6 player. Kind of look at everywhere he goes and like he produces when he gets power play time and plays a ton of minutes. Then when he goes places at the deadline, he like falls off and he's asked to play a lesser role. I think he's a little bit like, all right, a little bit almost like what we're going through with Adam Henrique right now, where people are struggling to adjust to the adjust the expectations. Like, what, this guy was scoring 25 goals a year in Anaheim. It's like, okay, now he's not playing power play. Now he's not playing 20 minutes a night. You got to change the scope. So I don't even love the Granlund ad that much.
Other thing that happened, Brendan Saad went to Vegas. Tyler
Very
nailed that one. So sunshine sticker on Tyler's report card.
Thank you.
Rick, I got to ask you.
Mhm.
Didn't last long. Vinny off to Pittsburgh just over a half season into his 2-year contract with them.
I like it out there. I didn't like the addition to Vancouver. I thought they have at least one version of him in Tyler Myers, who was going to get the ice time ahead of him. And then when you have a player who's already in your spot, you're really going to be under the magnifying glass, and that fan base isn't going to be awfully nice to him. So it's nice to see him get out of there. Over to Pittsburgh, I think he fits in a little bit better, as they don't really have a gigantic guy like him. If he gets the ice time out there, I think he'll be okay. We know what he is. Why Vancouver wanted to bring him in, knowing full well they already had somebody who kind of fit that mold already, then you want to expect him to turn into something else. I don't really understand it, but I'll put him over there.
What do you got over there?
because he's big.
I was just going to say size wins championships, right?
He's big, and Vancouver only signed big defensemen. And that's not anything against Vinny. It's literally all Jim Rutherford and what's his name, Patrick Alvin, who allegedly is a GM and makes decisions. I'm not convinced.
Well, Quinn's not that big, but he's kind of fell in their lap.
Well, he's literally
outside,
that
outside of
only
him,
He's the only defenseman who isn't an outside acquire.
because they just put Susia available, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's big.
Forbert, Myers, Vinny.
Zadorov last year,
Yeah.
Myers. That other fella they've got, Hronek, isn't a small guy. I think he's 6'2". And I know that's like pretty standard size in the NHL, but like they are not even signing big guys to play in like the positions.
Yeah, you don't have guys who can skate, who can move
I-
the puck. We've learned this before, and I've said it before. You can't build a team, and same with defense, off just a bunch of fat guys or skinny guys. You need a nice mixture of the fat, skinny, and medium guys, just like ice hockey from way back when.
Yeah, no body shaming.
Jamie Alexiak is going to sign as a Vancouver Canuck this offseason.
He can't. He has 1 year left in
I thought he was
Seattle.
off.
One more year. But we'll get to that in trade rumors.
There you go.
Tyler's got a new Tuesday segment we're going to get to. Just ripping through the skills competition. Anybody go?
Nope.
I didn't go either. No Connor this year. He was out with illness.
And
So
we know it takes a lot to keep him out of the skills competition.
every time I
What's
hear
the
Connor
joke?
talk, he's always talking about the skills competition. Connor, are you excited for Four Nations? I'm just rattled. I missed the skills competition. Kasperi Kapanen, fastest skater, 40.0 kilometers an hour. Next up, Brett Kulak. Third, Ty Emberson. Where are the forwards? Or did they not participate? I don't know how it works. Well, outside of him. So we got Kapanen number 1. Then it goes Kulak, Emberson, Podkolzin. Well, I guess there's forwards. Philp, and then Bouchard.
I wonder can you find last year's? Because wasn't second place last year Vin?
No, he was first.
Was he first?
Yeah, you won last
Sure he
year.
was. Yeah.
I wonder what the timing was.
There's no link here that is ready.
That's fair.
Can I just tell you a fact I just found?
Is it fun?
It's a fun one, and I want you to guess.
Stat too.
Actually, I'll just read it to you.
Okay.
Elias Pettersson times 2.
Which one?
Both of them
Yeah.
have the same
Name?
goal share this season so far. I thought that was crazy. Both 50%. What a confusing stat so far. Anyways, carry on. That's all I
Okay.
got. Vinny, I was trying to look for Vinny to see how he did in Vancouver.
Looking around the Pacific Division with Liam Harbin.
Yeah, Vinny was actually better than Vancouver.
This is your
expected.
Vancouver minutes.
Specific statistic.
Yeah.
Looking at the bullseye accuracy shooting, Nugent-Hopkins won that for the second consecutive year.
How many shots?
So the first round he did 4 for 5, and then he did 4 for 8, but he beat Connor Brown on time,
Oh, that's not good.
and then he went 3 for 4 in the final.
He's building a dynasty.
You're just building a dynasty. Best of 3 accuracy passing. That went to Team White. That was featuring Skinner, Hyman, Philp, Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Skinner. Hardest shot. 101.5 miles per hour. Victor Arvidsson. Where's that shot been? Hitting people in the shin pads, I guess.
Did it have to hit the net?
Yes.
Yeah, the gun will like anywhere on the end boards.
To be fair though, if you like when you hit the net, it's usually square in the middle. So you'd be hitting the goalie like smack dab in the pads or the chest.
That is true.
That adds up.
Second place, Darnell Nurse at 99.6. Vasily Podkolzin 97.7. Then it was Kulak, Bouchard, Stetcher, Klingberg, Henrique, and Blake Fiddler from the Oil Kings.
Blake Fiddler,
Son of-
Is it?
Vern.
Yeah. From
Son of
Millwoods?
Bird,
Yeah.
From Millwoods.
player of fiddle.
Player of the fiddle.
Should be a Fiddler.
Usually on a roof.
It's interesting that the Oilers, I don't know, maybe not.
Someone
Remember
had
a few years
Dick
ago
McGill.
they had like Gunther.
I also heard from the skills competition that Hunter got he got to hang out with his kid for the day.
Oh, a bonus day.
Yeah.
I've had
for him.
Got to see the kids. It's very important.
Probably cost the lawyer a
Finally,
couple
the
bucks, though.
rough relay goes to Phoebe Stetcher,
Woo!
Bernese Mountain Dog.
Wow.
Followed
I'm not
by-
even a dog guy, but I'll be honest, that's the only event I care about.
It is the best event.
Yeah.
It's a
It
good
is the
event.
best.
Seeing
event.
which dog's the fastest. That's cool.
Also, Troy Stetcher, his dog is so well trained.
Mm. They
He's
have,
gotten lessons for that thing.
they have an Instagram page.
For Phoebe Stetcher?
Yeah, I believe
I still wish we could get a 200-meter track on a straightaway.
So Liam and Tyler can finally have their race.
Yes. And let's see how fast Connor can get going. No corners, no nothing. 200 meters.
I would also
Fire away.
There's a corner in 200 meters.
Hmm?
So we need a
No, I don't know. I'm
400
not
meter
talking
He
about
wasn't
a
actually
track.
talking about
Custom
you two.
track.
I'm just talking like, let's get out to lake, whatever the hell.
Do you know?
Let's go to Castrol
Fire
Raceway.
him down.
Yeah. Do you know what I want? Exotic pet racing.
Like a
Let's
bird.
see what these guys
Wow.
have got. Who's the Robin Leonard of the group? You know,
Oh,
stuff like
Snake
that.
Farm. Shout out to the Snake Farm.
Some snakes in there. Who's got this crazy fish that can just scoot themselves
Mhm.
across the ice? Now that'd be
It's one of those like ones that goes from water to land.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a frog.
Yep. Who is the exotic animal collector of the group?
The answer is Derek Ryan.
Well, he's not here anymore.
I could. I
Way
would
to bring that
assume
up.
That
There's
hat?
was
Yeah, I could
outside.
see it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Probably has like a mouse or something.
A gecko
Definitely.
walks around Costco with an iguana on his chest.
It's on his shoulder.
I've seen that
It's
before.
like
Crazy.
Derek Ryan's got an ostrich. You're like, that's not a pet. I'm just in it for the eggs.
They're expensive these days.
They are. Let's talk some betting, boys. Betting segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Oilers Nation Radio. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use the code NATION. Nation. That is the code. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365. Let's just look at the mains, gentlemen. The Oilers play St. Louis tonight. Oilers favored heavily on the money line.
Are we playing a guessing game or am I allowed to look?
I'm just going to tell you
Okay.
because I want you, Rick, to get in the weeds. We're going to help Liam win his money back.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what we're doing today.
I just want a big one. Birmingham beat Stevenage.
Sound like teams from Middle Earth.
Stevenage?
I won.
Those teams from Middle Earth, they don't exist.
That's not even a.
Moneyline Oilers are heavily favored, minus 185. Puck line, Tyler, if you think they're going to get frisky, that's winning by 2 goals or more. The Oilers are plus 140 on the puck line. Over under is a pick 'em at minus 110. It is set at 6 today. Now, looking at some of the numbers, like let's get a little in there. Trying to find some value. 3 bets I like for you guys. Connor McDavid power play point plus 135.
Okay.
Blues power penalty kill sucks. 68%.
Leon, okay, well, I might hammer a little more. Leon Draisaitl power play point plus 140. I wish I could parlay him. I'm not allowed right now. That's okay. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins assist plus 140. Those are kind of my in the weeds bets that I've got today.
Evan Bouchard has had 6+ shots on goal in back-to-back games. Yeah, 6 one game, 8 the other. Bouchard to go 6+ shots tonight is 10-1 plus 1,000.
It is.
Leon Draisaitl's also done it. He's plus 850.
He's done 6 back-to-back.
He had 10.
He had like 10 or yeah.
David had 9 last game.
Draisaitl had 6 against Toronto, 10 against Detroit, and Bouchard was 8 and 6, and Connor McDavid was 9 and then 5. So if you were to even knock that down and just say all 3 of those guys are going to get 4, you could throw them in a same gamer and it works out to 2,200
with a 30% boost.
Ooh, I do love the shot parlays because you're just cheering for shots. Like the outcome is really irrelevant.
The only thing that hurts is when you look at the app and you're like, there's that shot on goal, and you look back and that shot on goal has been taken away. Especially if you're not watching the game and you have do I believe it? Don't I believe it? At least if I'm watching the game, I can see it and go, yeah, that definitely wasn't a shot on goal or something. But I've lost once or twice to that.
I do love a shot parlay. Anything else sticking out to you guys in the game tonight against the Oilers and Blues?
I have an Ekholm parlay.
What do you got?
Ekholm. I can't remember if I did 2.5 shots or 1.5 shots. Oh yeah, it was 2+ shots. And Ekholm to get a point was plus 260.
There you go.
So do we not know who's goaltending this evening for the Oilers?
Nothing out yet.
I would assume Skinner because they play Chicago tomorrow.
I think they'll want to give Skinner a chance to bounce back from the Leafs game.
He was so bad.
I'm a Stu defender, but yeah.
Listen,
you're a $2.6 million goaltender or whatever it is. You're not gonna have a great game all the time. When he's got numbers like this on the entire season, I think you need to look at it on the whole and not try and individualize things.
Per daily faceoff, still unconfirmed on the Oilers side. Jordan Binnington is confirmed for the Blues, though.
Awesome.
No matter who the Oilers start in this hockey game, Jordan Binnington will be the Canadian goalie with the worst save percentage. And he's going to the Four Nations. That's why I say that.
And not.
Have you had a little look at the old shot save parlay yet? I guess we don't know who's starting.
I was looking at that and it wasn't there. That's why I had to bring it up.
Yeah, no, it won't be there until they confirm who it is.
I do like that one though.
I had a good one the other day. It was of course it was Skinner against Detroit. It was like 21.5. That hit.
What's the number we're going at today?
If it's 21.5, I think you bet it.
I go
22.5.
23 and under I go.
There you go.
A lot of teams are shooting higher than that, right?
Yep. That's your rule, 23 and under?
Yeah.
Right.
Is now.
Okay. Rumor time with Tyler Yaremchuk. I got to tell you about, we are having a viewing party with our friends at Greta coming up in, what's the date on that? Oh, there you go.
22nd.
The 15th.
Oh. There's one on the 22nd, right?
That's a brunch for Ben.
Oh, okay.
The 15th is the one I'm talking about, though, Liam. That's Canada, USA at the Four Nations. We're going to get together on a Saturday, a nice little Saturday night. We got 2 different ticket packages for you. We just got the general entry, and then we got a VIP package where you get a little bit of an upgraded experience. It includes a Greta burger, a beverage, and a game card. Of course, we're raising some money for the Ben Stelter Foundation as well.
I'll tell you something. If Mackenzie Weegar's on that Canada team, I will not be cheering for him when he touches the puck.
Amen.
Are you going to boo?
Yep. I will.
I refuse to cheer for any flam ever.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do anyway.
Yep.
Just kidding. If they put on a Canadian jersey, I couldn't give a damn one.
If you want context, one of our sister site, Flames Nation, one of their podcasts said they will not cheer for McDavid at Four Nations.
That's insane.
Which begs the question, what are they going to do when he has the puck? Are they going to put their hands underneath their legs? What will they do? I don't know. Just put them behind their heads?
Scream internally, I would assume.
Into a pillow.
That might be a good one.
You know.
All right, rumor talk, boys.
Let's do it.
First one I got for you. Frank Saravalli has a new trade targets list out. I'm going to give you the top 10. You tell me who you'd like to see on the Oilers, if anyone. Brock Nelson at number 1, Brandon Tanev at 2, Rasmus Ristolainen at 3, Bowen Byram is at 4, pending RFA, Casey Middlestat at 5, Ryan Lindgren at 6, Dylan Cousins at 7, Seth Jones at 8, 5 more years, $9.5 million. Oliver Bjorkstrand at 9. Jamie Alexiak, 1 more year, $4.6 million at 10. I like Alexiak. I think that might be a decent fit. And he has
Give me Penny.
12.4 million.
For Penny?
Oh,
Penny's-
sorry.
Penny's
I thought
brother.
you said give me his pennies.
Well, that too.
Yes, his sister.
a big stack of them.
Alexiak. I like Jamie Alexiak, and I also
Because he big?
he big and he move pretty well actually for a big boy.
I actually don't mind that either.
I was watching some Oliver Bjorkstrand video today. I like him on one side of the half, and on the other side, Kris Knoblauch would hate him. He doesn't hold on to the puck very long, so I think that would work next to Draisaitl. So it kind of depends what they want. If the Oilers are willing to just get a guy who is a pure shooting mentality to go alongside Draisaitl, then he's a fit, but I don't see that as a possibility. There was one other guy on that list you mentioned. Oh, I would like Brock Nelson, but I don't think it's going to happen because I'm pretty sure the Islanders are just going to decide not to move anybody.
I don't know what they're going to do.
No,
Lou's phone isn't even plugged in.
Yeah. The Canucks apparently making Carson Soucy available. Anyone else, guys? Anyone?
I would just be looking at the defenseman.
We already have that jersey made.
We do.
All those options on defense myself. I like Alexiak. I've liked him since he was traded from Pittsburgh to Dallas. And
Yeah, he bounced around a little
Yeah.
bit.
yeah.
He was a bit of a late bloomer.
so
First round pick.
Yeah.
Only 32. Very young man.
Like, get him for his 33, 34-year-old seasons. Like, I think there's some hockey left in that guy.
he signs with
Holy
Vancouver.
moly. This guy was traded for nothing.
That's what I
From
mean.
Dallas to Pittsburgh for a 4th round pick. From Pittsburgh to Dallas. Oh, he played for Dallas twice. For a 4th round pick. And then obviously he was in the expansion draft for Seattle. He's a good player. 13 points this year, 54 games. He's not going to bring you offense, but he's kind of like Brett Kulak, I guess you could say, in that sense of like, he has that touch to him, but he's not going to go out there and get a ton of
Not
points.
playing him on the power play.
He's got 9 goals 1 year.
David Pagnotta reporting that apparently the Sharks could make Mario Ferraro available. He's another guy, 1 more year on the deal, left shot, 26 years old, only $3.25 million. Also, Frank's board had Connor Murphy, 31-year-old right shot D-man, $4.4 million for this year and next. So there's starting to be a few more defensemen that I think are interesting, which is another reason why I have my opinion on Klingberg. And like, again, the Oilers remarkably healthy the last number of playoff runs. In all likelihood, you'll need 7 D-men to get you through a playoff run, maybe even 8. I like the idea of like, if you start the playoffs with Klingberg in the press box, it might not even be a comment on him. It might just be a nice luxury to have to be like, hey, if someone gets hurt, we have that guy ready to go.
Remember, any guy we bring in though can always be worse.
And Klingberg?
Yeah. Always negative with you, isn't it? Right?
No, but the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
But most of the time it is.
Because it's fertilized with shit. I think that's the rest of the saying. I don't remember.
I'll tell you something though. I'd be pretty disappointed if they got Mario Ferraro.
Why?
I don't think that guy's that good, is he?
I think he's a good shutdown guy.
I don't know. I've never been too fond of him. I find it's interesting that San Jose wouldn't want to keep a 26-year-old defenseman
That's fair.
where they are in their build. Now, if Jake Wallman becomes available at all, I would unload for him.
That Macklin kid is available.
Celebrini.
Just ask the question.
I was thinking about that today. Do you remember when we saw him in Florida?
Oh, yeah, we did.
I totally forgot about that.
Wee lad.
Him and Zeev
William.
Boyum were just
Liam needs me around.
Pardon me, what did you just say?
Zeev Boyum.
William.
William?
Yeah.
Well, the 4 top prospects were there. There was those 2, the Russian fella, the Belarus guy, my apologies to him, and Aiden Lindstrom. We're all there. And it was raining.
It was raining.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be in on Ferraro. What was the other name you said? Connor Murphy? He might be okay. I don't know. At the start of the year, I remember Frank came on the show and was like, this guy sucks.
Okay. So you wrote him off.
I hate this trade group so
Do you not
much.
like Bowen Byram?
I like Bowen Byram, but I hate the idea of having to then pay Bowen Byram at the end of the year.
Having
We
to
don't
pay
have to.
both Bowen Byram and Evan Bouchard sounds stinky to me.
You don't have to pay him.
And then how are we getting Rantanen?
Well,
Why-
you just,
why-
you just bring him in as like a rental.
But then
you're paying a ton.
Well, no, then obviously you're not paying as much as if you're getting him.
But-
if you're going to sign him or if you signed him before the trade, and yes, it's fine if that's too much. But what's like Alexiak going to cost you? Obviously
fourth.
different.
Second. Probably a second for Alexei.
And what's Bowen Byron going to cost you? It could, because it gets into a bit of a bidding war that it's going to be.
Because he's an RFA. So I think there's a team out there who will look at him and be like, shit, we have his rights for next year. Then we can sign him long term. Like, we'll pay a lot for that guy. And he's so young. And he does something that's very hard to do, which is put up points from the back end. That's all for the rumor talk.
Okay. So
what about I know he's 2 years at 5.1. Ristolainen, I heard was having a better year this year with Philly.
I'm not taking on
I
the
agree.
risk.
I've heard that too. The thing that worries me about players like Ristolainen, and even with a guy like John Gibson, they're doing very well now. But for previous years of those contracts, they were not good at all.
Nobody was doing very well in Buffalo, if I remember correctly.
He was doing significantly worse than anybody else. And what worries me about those guys is like, what if they just fall back again next year? And all of a sudden, the Oilers have $5 million plus on their cap. It's just like unnecessary.
Agreed.
I think a good comparison, but not quite as extreme, for Alexiak, and I'm not saying they're the same player because they are very different, but like Chikrin had term, if I remember, and their cap hits are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
He went for a first and 2 seconds. I don't think it gets that high, but
he had term and RFA rights, though.
You're looking at a level down on that one.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
That's all for the rumors?
That's all. That's all the rumors I was able to dig up.
Could you maybe assign some of them a TY number?
Being like how much I like them?
No, like Eklund.
Like Eklund.
Yeah.
Well, if they're on Frank's list, they're pretty good. So like Alexiak to Edmonton.
Yeah.
10 being like it's a lock. They're getting.
We got 1 to 5.
Yeah, you got to keep
1 to 5.
Yeah.
So 5 being like this is happening.
Happening. Yep.
Alexiak to Edmonton is a TY 2.5.
All right.
Type of player I think they'd like. He's available with term. Makes sense.
TY?
As opposed to Ek.
Or Tyler,
he was E, right? Yeah, he was E.
I don't do Y.
E4, E5.
Y 2.5.
If you saw an E4, you got pretty excited.
I actually found a better comparison for Jamie Alexiak.
Okay.
Which would be
Things different a little bit. Jake McCabe trade. Similar. Obviously, McCabe a little bit younger. They got Sam Lafferty in the deal as well.
Who was highly sought after at the time.
They got 50% retained on Jake McCabe. It was $4 million. It cost him a conditional first-round pick, a second-round pick. Pavel Gogolev, who was an AHL player, and Joey Anderson, who was like a fringe NHLer.
So the thing to remember is McCabe had 2 more years, I believe, on that one, right? They were getting him for
okay, but the point is he has like a bit of term left on it. So conditional. I don't know what the condition was.
McCabe held in higher regard than Alexiak too.
So there you go. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe you just don't have to give up a second. Maybe it's a third.
I guess
add in Lafferty in there. No, with
Ekholm's trade ruined all trades for me. That's what I want. I want one of those. Find it. Bowman.
So I think, I don't know.
Any final thoughts, boys? We shut it down or we do a score prediction? We got the St. Louis Blues tonight and Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow. We got a twofer.
2-4. We're at a margarita bar.
5-2 win tonight with an empty netter. 6-1 win tomorrow.
There's Tyler. Dan.
2-1 loss to the Blues and a 4-1 win versus the Blackhawks.
Rick.
Let's go with 3-1 Oil tonight and then 5-2 tomorrow.
Liam.
4-2 tonight. 5-1 tomorrow. 5-3 tomorrow.
You're going to get 2 games and an 8-1 victory. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy your midweek beatdowns, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you on Friday.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.